What's good, podcast world? What's good, YouTube?
Sixers are in trouble. I need a top five.
Man, let's get into best of the week, man. What's good, podcast world? What's good, YouTube? Back for another episode of Charge It to the Game Sports and Sports Betting Podcast, brought to you by the Bet US Sports app, Simply 8 Vitamin Gummies. As always, I'm your host, Rome, joined by Big Z. Z, what's up, bro?
Good evening, everybody.
Welcome, man. So, welcome back, everybody. I know it's been a little spotty here. Definitely been hearing a lot lately from you guys, so we're definitely going to start doing episode like we used to. Just like I said, just trying to clean up a few things. But we got a great show for you guys. Thank you guys for still rocking with us. So today's show, we got a very special guest. If you're in the Charge It to the Game Facebook group, you already know what it is. If you're not already, make sure you look in the description of the show. There's a link to our Facebook group in there, and you can kind of, fill in on all the action and what we kind of the conversations we're having. But our special guest today, he's hopping on around 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Gentleman from last year, Chris Hayre, the Chargers team reporter. He's the co-host of Chargers Weekly. If you guys listen to that, where you can talk, they talk everything Chargers football. Him and his co-host there, but he'll be stopping by to join us around 8:30. We'll be talking a little Chargers football, talking about Brandon Staley. What's he been up to? Justin Herbert, Khalil Mack, Bosa, the boys, Derwin James. You guys get it, right? But before we get into that, we're gonna touch on a few topics, man. So obviously, I think we've heard a lot lately, Z, especially around the struggles of these young quarterbacks. These once heralded, former number 1, number 2 overall picks in Justin Fields and Zach Wilson. They are free falling, and there's just a lot going on, man. So I'll let you. The floor is yours, man. So let's talk a little bit about these QB situations.
Oh, it's brutal. For Jets fans, all the hopes of the season to start the year, they're talking Super Bowl, and now they're stuck with Zach Wilson, and it's disaster. They're saying mutiny in the locker room, fights on the sidelines, and the front office is sticking with Zach. And so it's even had Joe Namath come out and said, "Get this guy off my team."
Now, anytime Broadway Joe comes out and is like, "Yo, get this guy the hell off my team," that's an issue. You know what I mean? So that's just ridiculous, though. Like, obviously, we saw week 1 opening night, the closeout to week 1, right?
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, trots out on the field. It's 9/11 or the day before 9/11, right?
It came out with the flag.
Came out with the flag. Yeah, crowds going wild. All these celebrities on the sidelines, Jets fans, Method Man, all these people. He goes out there with play 2 on the drive. It's not funny. Yeah, tears his Achilles.
Yeah,
and
out for the season.
Out for the whole entire season. I'm just explaining that for the people who have been under the rock. Well, a rock.
Yeah.
But for the most part, man, since then they've really been struggling. Obviously, they won that game opening night due to the fact that they have a nasty defense, and then they had some special teams plays, and then Josh Allen was just out there chucking them up for anybody to grab. And for that night, it was the Jets. But yeah, since then, Zach Wilson's taken over the helm. And this guy, he's started right where he left off last season. The guy's sitting there, stands in the pocket. And I don't want this to come off the wrong way, but he's looking like just a scared little bitch, man. Like,
he doesn't read defenses. What was it? Game against the Cowboys, he was 12 for 27, 3 interceptions. And then Belichick, with all his disguises, had Zach seeing double and triple, and that was brutal as well. Last week they lost 15-10, and then Zach again is just absolutely brutal with basically throwing for 157 yards 18 for 36 passes for 157 yards.
That's ridiculous.
Oh, man. 10
That's
points. 10 points.
10 damn points, man. And I mean, this receiving core is revamped. They've got, they brought in the gentleman from the
Yeah.
Packers, Randall Cobb, and
All Aaron Rodgers guys. Yeah.
yeah, Aaron
Lazard,
Rodgers guys,
Alan
Lazard,
Lazard.
all of those guys, all of his nice little fancy weapons, and on
Yeah.
top of that, you got a Ferrari and what's the gentleman's name?
Brees Hall, Garrett Wilson
At the receiver position.
Yeah, and they got
And
Dalvin Cook in the backfield.
You can't even get the damn ball. You know what I mean? And like it's
Wow.
just ridiculous. So I mean, they're just in a horrible spot. And the fact that Robert Saleh, I think there's some news that came out today, stating that he's supporting and standing by Zach Wilson. He's our quarterback, and all of this and that. But
that sounds like what the GM said. I mean, he's what the owner and the GM is telling him to say, because they got the defense having almost a mutiny, fights on the sideline, arguments on the sideline.
The running back arguing with the running back coach. Yeah. Like, you can't make this shit up. I mean, and the thing is dividing the locker room. Honestly, last season, once that happened, when they wore those Mike White T-shirts and they benched Zach Wilson, I thought for sure Zach Wilson might be gone. But I think what they were thinking, obviously, was they're going to go out and get Aaron Rodgers. Maybe he sits behind Aaron Rodgers for a few years, sits behind a future Hall of Famer, understand how he trains, see what he does. Maybe he sees the game a little different. But this guy, he's going to need a new change of scenery, man. He's just not the guy for the job. He's sitting in there. They just obviously lost their most recent game this past weekend against the New England Patriots for the 15th, 16th time straight.
And then, now the funny thing is, insult to injury for Jets fans. What's his name? Mike White played the fourth quarter for the Dolphins when they scored 70. He had a perfect passer rating, had a touchdown. When he went 2 for 2, 6 for 7 for 67 yards and a touchdown in one quarter. So he basically played 10 plays and had more production in 10 plays than Zach Wilson's had in 3 games.
I mean, I believe it. I mean, Zach Wilson, he's not NFL. He's not an NFL starting quarterback, and he's not ready to play. Honestly, he needs a new change of scenery, in my opinion. He's got definitely a live arm. He's fast, but that's about it.
He can't read defenses.
He can't read defenses.
Not read defenses.
And that's a lot of these young quarterbacks. These first few years, man, that's the change. You run these spread offenses. Now you're going from under center. That some people haven't even done that in high school. They haven't done that since like pound ball.
Yeah.
And that's a change for a lot of these guys. And then also you're dealing with the fact that you're dealing with grown men. You know, these guys are 30, some even maybe close to 40 years old. And you're this 22, 23-year-old kid who went to BYU?
Yeah.
Where, I mean, come on, guys. I mean, you guys already know what it is. I mean, BYU, it's a different culture.
Yeah. And his pro day is why he got drafted so high.
Yeah.
Throwing to nobody in the air.
Exactly. And that one little rollout pass where he turned his back, got him his first round money, his top 5 pick, all of that. So, I mean, it's just a lot going on there. If you're a Jets fan, and I feel sorry for you guys because the future was looking very bright, especially in that division now. But I mean, the Dolphins are just hitting people over the head with everything they got. But let's talk on Justin Fields a little bit.
The funny thing about Zach Wilson, he gets Kansas City this week.
So
he gets to see Patrick Mahomes.
Yep. So probably the worst starting quarterback in the league against the best starting quarterback
on national TV Sunday night.
It's gonna be one hell of a game. But so let's talk a little bit about Justin Fields. So what are you seeing out of this from him?
Another disaster. Bears. I wonder if they could have had it to do over, would they have just taken C.J. Stroud with the way he's played instead of trading the draft pick? But I guess glass half full. There's so many quarterbacks coming up this draft, and so they can get out of Justin Fields. They have 2 first-round picks, so they get Carolina's first-round pick, and Carolina's horrible too. So the Bears will get somebody, but Justin Fields, I mean. Wow. He's just awful, just absolutely terrible. Throwing his coaches under the bus, saying they're not letting me be myself. I'm thinking too much. They're giving me too much information. I mean, yeah, Bears are a disaster. Bears defensive coordinator had to resign because of HR problems.
I mean, is it HR problems, or didn't they say they raided the dude's house for the FBI or something like that?
We'll just say HR problems.
Yeah. I mean, it's just all types of shit going on there. I mean, and obviously I'm rooting for the black quarterback, and all of that. I'm a little biased, I get it. But I mean, I got to call it how I see it, man. Justin Fields is not living up to the hype at all. A big deal of it is because of coaching, yeah. The offensive line, yeah. They don't have, the best weapons in the world, yeah, I get it. But at the same time, he doesn't look ready either. I mean, he's sitting there taking sacks. He's sitting there looking like Shedeur Sanders against Oregon, like just sitting there taking too many sacks, running when he's really not supposed to. Yeah, he throws a good ball, but he just runs a little too much, man. He missed. As a Bucs fan, watching that game as diligently as I was, there was a play. They were in, I think, out like the 30-yard line. There was a guy right down the seam. He was wide open. There was no pressure, nothing. Perfect pocket, and Justin Fields missed him. The guy sitting there waving his hands in the end zone.
Did you see the mic with the Bucs with Devin White? With
what did he say?
The receiver for the Bears, who they got from Carolina. He walked up to him and said, "I miss chasing you around the field when you was in Carolina. I don't know why they're using you so terribly wrong. This is just an absolutely horrible offense." And that receiver just nodded his head to Devin White, went back to the huddle. He's like, "Man, dog, they using you wrong. I miss chasing you all around the field back when you was in Carolina. This stuff is terrible. They're just wasting your talent out here."
Right.
And he was just like, wow.
Yeah.
But and think about it this week. This week is Denver at Chicago. Denver, who just gave up 70 points, is favored by 3.5 points at Chicago. How bad are the Bears?
Right. I mean, yeah, if you're a Bears fan, man, you're going through it. I mean, you haven't had a team to cheer for in years. I mean, I'm trying to think the last time you guys had, what was it, Rex Grossman went to Super Bowl? Was that it?
Now think about it. They fired, so Lovie Smith was 10-6, and they fired him. And they've never had a winning season.
They could do better.
And since Lovie was fired. That's
Same thing with Jim Caldwell. The Lions, but I mean the Lions are relevant now. But before then, I mean, it was just kind of the same thing. Jim Caldwell led a winning program and ended up letting them go. But if you're a Bears fan, man, it's time to obviously move on from Justin Fields. In my opinion, obviously, I don't think they're going to trade him before the trade deadline and all of this and that.
Nah,
but I mean, as far as this upcoming draft class, as far as QBs with Michael Penix and Caleb Williams and Ewers out of Texas and all these other guys, man.
The guy at North Carolina,
Drake May, and like I said, the guy at Duke now. I mean, this is just a bunch of people out there, solid QBs that obviously we don't know if they're going to be NFL ready, but I mean, the upside is so huge. Yeah. So ultimately, we'll see what happens there. But just the Bears are just looking like trash. Z, let's talk a little bit about this 70. This 7, just simply the 70.
That historic.
I really wanted them to break that record so damn bad. Like I was rooting for, I'm like, do it. I'm like, oh, then they sit there and bench Tua. And
they had the chance to kick a field goal with 30 seconds left, and they took a knee because they were in field goal range to break the record, and he took a knee. And I was like, wow.
Yeah, man. I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, I get it, maybe sportsmanship thing, but if you're that 70 points 50 points doesn't happen in the NFL. Like that is a college score. Those are college numbers. The only reasons colleges put up those numbers, that's like Maryland or that's like Alabama playing like what's some of those colleges?
And the funny thing is, look, Mike White in the fourth quarter Mike White in the fourth quarter got 21 points. He came in the game and was just gutted it. I know Jets fans were sick. They had to be sick. But no, that game, McDaniel is a genius. He is just the absolute genius. He's from Denver, was a Broncos ball boy, and when the Broncos never even gave him an interview for the head coaching job. So that was where his, I guess, beef came from. And then Tua, with Sean Payton talking crap about Tua, said he should have been benched two years ago. And they're bringing all those quotes back. Yeah, Miami's offense, they're fun to watch. If anything else, they are fun to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, they do so much on offense.
And I'll say this about Miami.
Speed everywhere. And Waddle didn't play. Waddle missed the game. He didn't even play.
He didn't even play, and he's another speedster. So, I mean, the thing is with the Dolphins, it was an incredible game, man. And I was telling, I think, a few people earlier this week, people that I know, people don't remember. The Dolphins did the same damn thing last year. They didn't put up 70, but the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season, they were punishing people 30, 40 points. They blew out Buffalo. They were just looking like world beaters.
Game was the concussion.
Yeah. So and then, like you said, late in the year, the offensive line started breaking down. They were starting getting those hits on Tua, and he had got hurt. And I think he got a concussion a few different times. And then, but this season, remember the change, guys. They asked Tua to put on that weight. So he was maybe 185, 90 pounds last year. Now he's 215.
And he's not getting touched. The pocket, I think it's just the motion and the way they run their offense with just the multiple motions back and forth, the interchangeable parts, 4 or 5 guys who are small guys, just super fast and super shifty. Defenses can't get to Tua now. He gets back there. He's looking like Alabama Tua.
Yeah, and he's not holding on to the ball. I mean, the thing is, it's experience. And that's why I said I'm not going to be incredibly hard on Zach Wilson and Justin Fields. Like I said, it's experience, man. And like I said, honestly, these guys probably just need a change of scenery. And, obviously they're both getting live reps. But, I mean, when you have an offensive coordinator who's actually comparable and knows what he's doing and plays to your player's strengths, that's the difference. Not my scheme. We're going to play to your strengths. Okay, let's do some rollout passes. Let's break things down. You know what I mean? Let's do some of the things that make successful in college.
23 of 26, 309 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks in basically a half of football. That's Tua. Unbelievable.
And if you're a Broncos fan, I mean, you're sick because they really could have made the history book. They would. Well, you're still in the history books. I mean, you're not at the top, but you're still there. And then, I mean, Sean Payton. Nobody's talking about that. Like Sean Payton's coming out there and he came off the set of Fox, and now he's back in the head coaching helm, and they're doing the same damn thing. The same,
and he was talking all that junk about the old coach. That guy never gave up.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So you're sitting all this, you're on the desk just talking all this junk at Fox. Now you're on the sideline and you're seeing what the hell he had to go through. And you don't have the luxury of having
worst coach team in history is what he said last year was the worst coach team in history. They never gave up 70.
Yeah. So I'm just like you're on the sidelines. You're feeling that pain. You no longer can hide behind Drew Brees and this the amazing defense that you once had. Let's see what you can actually do now. So with that said, guys, we're actually joined by our guest now. Chris Hayre is going to be joining us here now. So as I welcome him in here, Chris, what's up, man?
Guys?
Welcome.
Hey, Chris, how you doing? Doing well.
Doing well, man. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, man, happy to be here. Glad football's back. It's only week 4. It feels like it's like week 14. So much has happened,
It's flying. Yeah, the season is flying by.
Literally, man. And like I said, we got a little caught up there. I was actually looking at the time and I saw you down the corner. I was like, damn, he is on.
I'm here. Let's go.
Yeah, man. So we were just talking, but let's talking to some Chargers football, man. So out of the first few weeks of the season, like what are you seeing out of the Chargers? Like obviously the goal is to, win a world championship. And just on paper, just in general, they have an amazing team. I mean, everything at the quarterback position solidified. The offensive line is big and nasty. They got weapons along the outside.
Yep.
The defense is solid. Like, what is your overall opinion of obviously what's going on right now? What can you tell us, kind of in that, what's going on?
Well, I think obviously it was a disappointing start to the season for a team with that much talent. And listen, they were tough games, right? Looking at Miami and seeing what Miami is right now, Tennessee's a game they should have had. They should have had both those games, frankly, Miami and Tennessee. But you look at the talent that Miami has and the speed. Obviously, that was a tough way to start the season. Tennessee, you go 0-2 in the AFC. So obviously last Sunday in Minnesota, that was a must win if you're going to get your season back on track. And I thought Justin Herbert really put the team on his shoulders with his performance. Keenan Allen and Justin Herbert, frankly, but Justin, starting with him, 40 of 47, 405 yards, 3 touchdowns. And just the chemistry that he has with Keenan Allen has been evident since his rookie season. But I have never seen the both of them play the way that they did on Sunday. I mean, Keenan's been doing this for a decade. That was like a signature performance, 10 years, 11 years into your NFL career.
Yep.
I want to say 18 catches, 215. And he, by the way, threw a touchdown pass to Mike Williams.
Yep.
So I thought Justin put the team on his back. The defense was opportunistic when it needed to be. They got to stop when they needed it. You play the Raiders on Sunday, who may be without their starting quarterback and have some issues that they need to deal with. So I think it's a great opportunity for them to go 2-2 entering the bye. I think many expected maybe 3-1, get to the bye. Dallas on Monday night coming out of that. But if you can get to 2-2, take a breath, then I think you're okay. Now, injuries, obviously Mike Williams tearing his ACL is terrible. It's devastating for this offense. So Sunday is going to be a big spot for Quentin Johnson, the first-round rookie, to see if he can kind of fill those shoes along with Joshua Palmer. And obviously we know what Keenan's going to do, but the Raiders know what Keenan's going to do too. So I'll be interested to see how Justin distributes the ball Sunday.
Beautiful, man. Z, I'll let you have it.
So, I mean, Justin Herbert he's the only quarterback in the league with no turnovers through the first 3 games. How has the balance been? Because the offense has been unbelievable, and then the defense is giving up points galore. How has the team been able to deal with that from that point of view? Because the offense has been absolutely stellar.
Yeah, the offense has been stellar, but you know what? I'll say this: the first 2 weeks when they absolutely had to have it, the offense could not deliver. They had a 2-point deficit. Could easily drive the length of the field. Not even the length of the field. They just needed a field goal to beat Miami 37-36, and they went 4 and out. And Vic Fangio brought the pressure. I don't know if the offense was ready for it. Week 2, they lined up incorrectly on one play. Again, another opportunity to score, and they couldn't do it. So to see them sustain that success against Minnesota was very encouraging. And guys are doing it without Austin Eckler too. So, you wait to see if Austin will come back this week, or maybe he comes back right after the bye to give that ankle an extra week. Defensively, they still need to figure it out. And I think it starts in the secondary. The secondary's been pretty leaky the first 2 weeks, and obviously gave up some big plays to Justin Jefferson and Osborne and some of those other pass catchers of the Vikings. Derwin James was on the injury report on Wednesday. Alohi Gilman was on the injury report on Wednesday. J.C. Jackson was a healthy scratch in that game. So the secondary is really going to have to come together and figure it out. And I think the pass rush is going to have to help them. Now, the rookie, Tuli Tuipulotu, has been unbelievable. 21 years old. I think he had 9 pressures in that game against Minnesota. He is definitely making his presence felt along with Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. So I think if that pass rush can speed up whoever's playing quarterback for the Raiders on Sunday, help out the secondary a little bit, they can get to the bye. Normally you don't want the bye in week 5, right? You want it right in the middle of the season or later in the year. But I think for the Chargers, with some of the injuries and just having to go back to the drawing board a little bit defensively, I think this comes at a good time.
Yeah. I think so too, man. And just to kind of piggyback off of that last game, man, where you guys in the Vikings, I was watching it. It was just like back and forth. Like you guys score, and then Kirk leads them down the field, and then it's just like, what's gonna happen? And they ended up making, some questionable calls. So a lot of what I'm hearing, obviously, is just like fanfare type stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot of the same things like last year with like Brandon Staley, like these questionable play calls. I don't even know if it's him, maybe going for it or throwing the ball when it doesn't need to be thrown. Is that still relevant like around it, or is that at all relevant around the team, or do you even see that from your perspective?
I don't know if it's necessarily relevant inside the locker room, but
Yeah.
I'll say I think it's natural for fans to harken back to January in Jacksonville. That's a wound for fans that still hasn't healed yet.
Yeah.
So when you go back to last year, and that was the last memory you have of this football team with a 27-point lead, obviously the first 2 weeks do not bode well. It looks like it's kind of the same movie at the end, right? Where they're not able to finish. Now, you can go back and forth about whether you think that call was the right call or not the right call. The analytics community seems to think it was the right call. I think a lot of old school football heads said that was definitely not the right call. It ended up being a Chargers win. So I think it would be under a microscope a heck of a lot more this week had they dropped to 0-3. This team just needs to stack wins, and I think all 32 teams, guys, as you know, they're going to face adversity at some point during the season. There's going to be Sean Payton was I'm going to fix Denver, right? First or second round pick, $20 million man. They gave up 70 points last week. You just go around the league. Everybody feels it. Everybody catches some heat for a couple of weeks until you get back out of it. So right now, I think a win kind of gets everybody to take a deep breath. And if they can get a win against the Raiders in the division and get to 2-2, then you're like, okay, well, we still have everything in front of us. But there's going to be a microscope on this team, guys, because it's year 3 of Brandon Staley. Justin Herbert just got paid a ton of money. There's a lot of guys here on this roster that probably won't be here next year looking at their cap number. So this is a big year for this team. They brought almost everybody back. Very little turnover on the roster. They brought in Eric Kendricks. He hasn't really contributed at all because of injury. Mm-hmm. So this is a lot of the same guys trying to run this thing back. And when you do that, there's going to be a microscope on you. And there certainly has been early for the Chargers.
Gotcha. And
how's the adjustment been with Kellen Moore taking over? Because the offense has been putting up points left and right.
Seems pretty good. It seems like they're in sync. When you have a smart guy like Kellen Moore, coupled with another smart quarterback at Justin Herbert, I think Justin has picked things up pretty quickly in terms of what Kellen wants to do. I like how the game plans have been different. They ran the football week 1 based on what the defense was giving them. I think Minnesota blitzed like ace and just continued to just torch them through the air 47 times. He threw the football. So I like what Kellen Moore's doing. I think he's basing his offense around what the defense is giving him. Tennessee was tougher sledding. Titans have a very good front four, and there hasn't been much running room in the last couple of weeks, but obviously not having Austin, that's kind of the byproduct of that. So I think so far so good for Kellen Moore. The late game execution in weeks 1 and 2, that can't happen. But they more than made up for it week 3. And I think this thing is only going to get better and better. And the beauty of being a Chargers fan is that you're going to be at every game because you have Justin Herbert. It's going to be stressful. It's going to be stressful like it's been the first couple of weeks, but you're still going to be in every game because of the quarterback. And I think Kellen Moore and him are a nice fit together.
Yeah, beautiful, man. I was going to ask you, you hit on Austin Eckler a little bit. I know he's been out, I guess, due to injury. And obviously we already know what's kind of going on with like the running back market with, kind of stuff going on with Jonathan Taylor and some of these other guys and Saquon Barkley. what is your opinion on this whole situation with the running backs? I mean, with them not getting these long deals, and obviously, I'm a big fantasy guy. Austin Eckler was on my fantasy team, and I think he was a great fit, and he racked up a lot of points for me and got me close to winning my team championship and all of this and that. But I mean, as a actual, like, what is your opinion on this contract status with these running backs? I mean, it's just like they're not valued to a certain extent or a certain level. But like, what is your overall opinion on this, the running back market?
Well, I see it from both sides. I get the frustration of the guys who want to get paid for sure, right? Because I mean, it's a brutal position. You're putting your body on the line each and every down. And from Austin's perspective, 38 touchdowns the last 2 seasons and this year. But you have to separate fantasy football from the NFL and how general managers view the position. Devon Achane had 208 yards on Sunday for the Dolphins. I'm not mistaken. I mean, that's essentially his first full game in the NFL. So that's what a general manager will tell you is that, hey, we can draft a guy in the 4th and 5th round and we can get similar production. There may be a little bit of drop off, but we'd be comfortable doing what we're doing. This is not a league, save for maybe a couple of teams, where you really have a bell cow running back anymore. I mean, it's a committee situation. Nick Chubb was the bell cow in Cleveland, but even he, had some carries taken from him by Kareem Hunt last year. Jonathan Taylor, another guy who wants to get paid, but he finds himself in this situation. So I see both sides of it. I don't think the Giants make the playoffs without Saquon Barkley last year. But at the same time, general managers and front offices will have their reasons for doing it. And Achane against the Denver Broncos is like exhibit A. It's like, okay, well, hey, we can draft a guy in the 4th or 5th round and get the production we need. Look at San Francisco. Obviously, they have Christian McCaffrey now, but look at all the running backs that have gone through there, from Jeff Wilson to Mostert to Elijah Mitchell. It's a position where I believe coaches and front offices, by and large part, think that they can get similar production from other guys who may be a little bit cheaper, who may be on the first year of their deal. And there's a lot of money to go around. You got to pay quarterbacks, you got to pay edge rushers, you got to play left tackles. So that's how I think NFL front offices are viewing the situation. I give the Chargers and Austin credit because they came together at the end and he got some incentives in his deal. The Chargers gave Austin an opportunity to seek a trade, and I don't think he saw what he wanted out there, frankly. And that's kind of where we're at. So you kind of go where the market dictates, and it's an interesting situation. It's unfortunate for the running backs, but I think this is just life in the NFL in 2023.
I agree. Z, I'll let you have it.
So coming up with the Raiders, they just played the Steelers, so I watched them close. Being a Steeler fan, Davante Adams was going off crazy.
Yeah.
So that's basically the focus. So what are your thoughts going into this week in this game?
Davante Adams and Josh Jacobs, both those guys. Josh Jacobs has put up big time numbers against the Chargers in the past, and so is Davante Adams. And you look at this stretch that the Chargers have had to start the year. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle week 1. DeAndre Hopkins, they kind of kept him in check, but Treylon Burks had a 70-yard catch in week 2. Justin Jefferson week 3, Davante Adams week 4. Come out of the bye, you got CeeDee Lamb and then the Kansas City Chiefs. So it doesn't get any easier for this secondary. You have to find a way to not let Davante Adams beat you, whether it's Jimmy G or Aiden O'Connell or Brian Hoyer, whoever's under center. That has to be your focus. Josh Jacobs is the other guy that has historically given the Chargers some fits and really given the league fits. And he's been slow to get it going this year. The Vikings entered week 3 with the worst rushing attack in football, and they ripped off a few 10-yard runs against the Chargers. So Bolts are going to have to be ready for both of those guys to make sure that they don't let one of those guys beat them.
Yep. Yeah, so, I mean, as far as the Chargers this upcoming, I mean, obviously we went through, a few games. What are we in, week 4 now?
Yeah,
week
so
4,
they're
right?
week 4. Yeah, 1 and 2 and the division game coming out. This is a big game. They got to win this year.
Yeah, so I was gonna say now. So now we're gonna be getting into kind of like divisional play. Can you tell us a little bit about the teams in this division as far as like who do you crown? Obviously, it's early in the season, but not crown, but who's looking really good to you? Like as far as like who is the person like the team to beat? Like in your honest opinion?
Yeah, it's the Chiefs. It's the
Yeah,
Chiefs until otherwise, right?
yeah,
They've owned this division. And if you look at kind of the state of the Raiders the last couple of weeks, getting blown out in Buffalo and losing to the Steelers at home, uh, Denver losing by 50 to
yeah,
the Dolphins, losing to the Commanders and the Raiders at home. I think the Chargers are the most equipped in the division, obviously, to potentially dethrone the Chiefs, but we haven't seen it yet. So starts with Kansas City. The conference in general, guys, it's loaded. The
yeah,
AFC North, pick the team that's coming out of that. I don't know. Steelers, Bengals, Ravens, Browns, and that
yeah.
defense. The East with obviously the Bills and the Dolphins. I still don't sleep on Bill Belichick and the Patriots.
Nope.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I think the ship has sailed for the Jets in terms of getting a quarterback in there to make them a playoff contender, but we shall see.
yeah,
The South is obviously the weakest division, and then the West so far has not proven to be very strong, save for the Chiefs, and we'll see about the Chargers. I think the Chargers have all the talent in the world to get back in this thing starting Sunday. But coming out of the bye, you have Dallas on Monday night at home, short week, and you got to go to Kansas City. So I think these next
Wow.
3 games are going to tell us a lot about the Chargers and their prospects for trying to dethrone the Chiefs this year. This would be, at some point, maybe not, but at some point, you got to believe that the KC is going to have a down year with some of the receivers at Patrick Mahomes' disposal, minus Travis Kelce. That you feel like maybe they're ripe to be knocked off, but we haven't seen it yet, and I can't predict otherwise until we see it.
yeah, yeah. Good, Z.
So how does Quentin Johnson look? Former first-round pick from TCU. He's going to be in the spotlight for basically the first time.
Yeah.
Starting this week. How does he look through the preseason, and what are your thoughts about him being able to step in and replace Mike Williams, which is, tough.
No easy task, but first rounder for a reason, right? I thought he had a good training camp. He's a big guy. He's great after the catch. He's had some issues with drops at TCU and had a few drops in preseason, but I think him not playing the first few weeks that much is more of a product of just having Mike Williams and Keenan Allen and Joshua Palmer in front of you. Don't sleep on Joshua Palmer either. Like, Palmer's a player. He was kind of thrust into action last year when Keenan and Mike were hurt and had to step up in big moments to help win games for this Chargers team. I think Quentin has all the talent in the world, and I'm very intrigued to see what he may be able to do with Justin as his quarterback against a Raiders secondary that can be had. So we'll see a lot Sunday from Quentin. I expect him to rise to the occasion. I look at the other guys who were drafted right after Quentin in Zay Flowers and Jordan Addison, and Zay Flowers seems to have established himself as wide receiver 1 in Baltimore already, and Jordan Addison's had a big year opposite Justin Jefferson. So Quentin, this is a big spot for him. I don't know if the coaching staff envisioned him being the wide receiver 2 in week 4. Obviously not.
Yeah.
But it's a great opportunity, and you have no better quarterback than Justin Herbert throwing you the football.
Yeah. And I was going to ask you, man, as far as we were kind of just talking a little bit about maybe some of these young quarterback QB struggles, I wanted to ask your opinion on what do you think maybe some of the issues are of maybe the Justin Fields and the Zach Wilsons and some of these young guys are kind of having. Obviously, Trey Lance, he was supposed to be next man up. He got hurt, got traded to Dallas. But a lot of these guys are just not. I don't know. Maybe it's coaching or it's play calling. I don't know. If offensive line, it could maybe a combination of those things. But what do you think is attributed to a lot of these young quarterback struggles? I know we're getting a little off subject with the Chargers, but I just wanted to know your opinion on that.
Well, it's a great question, and I think there's a myriad of reasons for it. I look at Trey Lance, and I think it was Michael Lombardi brought up this good point, and it kind of resonated with me, especially the year that Trey Lance was drafted. It was COVID, where these guys had limited snaps, and it's much more difficult to evaluate the position when you're not playing that many games, and it's kind of a wacky year. So Trey Lance didn't have a ton of starts at North Dakota State.
Right.
So I think you on its face, you're like, oh, this is the perfect situation. Kyle Shanahan, he'll coach him up, he'll get him right, and it just didn't work out. Justin Fields, I thought he was electric last year with his legs. Has not been able to really get it going with the passing game, and I think some of it may be attributed to coaching, not having the proper offensive line personnel around you. They tried to upgrade and bring in Claypool last year and DJ Moore this year. But it seems like just the fit and then what they're asking him to do, he's not able to do. Bryce Young, another guy who's, a smaller guy with a leaky offensive line is usually not a good combination. It's so early in his career. So, I mean, he's played 2 games. He got hurt already.
Yep.
Zach Wilson may just been a mispick. He just may not have it. And it's a crapshoot. I mean, if you look at the first round quarterbacks, just go through the history of the NFL. Some of these guys just don't make it. And, one guy I'm excited about is CJ Stroud. I think CJ Stroud's a player that
looked very good.
So far, so good, right? And he's got young weapons around him, right? He doesn't have a ton of established vets around him. So I'm excited to see what he does. Anthony Richardson, you talk about fit. Shane Steichen is the perfect coach for him. Shane Steichen, just to give you guys some insight, he was the offensive coordinator for the Chargers, Justin Herbert's rookie year. And Justin came out on fire in large part because of the play calling. So you saw what he did with Jalen Hurts. You've seen what he's done with Anthony Richardson. Obviously, you hope he comes back from the concussion sooner than later. But I definitely think that almost half of this quarterback luck is where you get drafted, your situation, the personnel around you, the coaches. Some guys have to learn different offenses in consecutive years and new coaching staff. And it just becomes tough where you have to find a change of scenery and hopefully pick it back up. But it's a great question. It's a great question. And I don't know if there's one answer to it. I think it's just a myriad of factors. And then, I feel like certain guys just got it. Like, you could put Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert on any team, even Tua with his accuracy, and you'll probably get similar results.
Yep, I agree, man. Z, I'll let you go ahead.
So coming into this week with J.C. Jackson being healthy, scratched last week, is he expected to play this week, or what's the situation with him right now?
We don't know. I think as of today, Coach Staley said it's still to be determined. So, JC had a terrible season-ending knee injury last year. So I give him credit. Frankly, guys, I was surprised to see him come back so quickly. He was starting to practice right at the beginning of training camp. So coming back from major knee injury and your first test in the regular season is Tyreek Hill. Good luck, right?
Yeah.
So, JC's had some blown assignments, has not played great. Obviously, was a healthy scratch week 3. Based on some of the injuries in the secondary, I'm intrigued to see if he's a healthy scratch again, or if they think the guys that they have in Michael Davis and Asante Samuel Jr. and Jasir Taylor are more equipped to go out there and start a game and play meaningful snaps. So, obviously JC got a ton of money to come to LA and had the most interceptions of any player in football the prior 2 seasons before coming to LA. And it just has not worked out. It was kind of slow going at the beginning of last year. Then he got hurt and has not gone well to start 2023. So jury's out. And I think the secondary guys just has to start playing better. And whether JC's a part of it or not, at this point, it doesn't matter if you're getting the contribution from a young player or a guy who's making a ton of money. Whoever's out there just has to produce.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, gotcha. I was gonna ask you, man. So as far as I know, you guys made the Khalil Mack trade last year. And how has that panned out for the Chargers? Like, I mean, obviously he's still a solid player. Like, do you see maybe some drop off there for Khalil Mack, or is it maybe the scheme that he's running, or it doesn't seem the same to be the same Khalil Mack, but I mean, or maybe I could be wrong. Like, what is your opinion on him on the team so far?
Well, I think Khalil, obviously he's a little bit past his prime at this point, right? I mean, he was doing it at a very high level in Oakland and Chicago. But I'll say this about Khalil: he played all 17 games last year. He stayed healthy, and there was a big, I don't want to say a drop off from his play because I thought he played pretty well last year. But when you don't have Joey Bosa on the other side, you double team Khalil Mack, right? And let everybody else beat you. And I don't think that there was an answer to doubling Khalil Mack last year. They didn't have that guy. You know, Kyle Van Noy kind of came on late. Chris Rumpf, a younger guy. I thought Khalil, Daniel Popper from The Athletic, the Chargers beat writer, put up a clip of him against the run against Tennessee. He was really good and said he had some other good plays. I think Khalil is fine. And I think if he's playing and he's out there, then that's a good thing. I mean, you're getting production from a high level player. Want to see him do it with Joey consistently, and I want to see Tuli Pelotu in the mix there. They had those guys on the field at the same time, and it's given offenses fits. So Khalil may not be his like prime of his career Hall of Fame like self now, but I still think he's a productive player. And Khalil and Joey both have huge cap numbers next year. Yeah. So like I said, there's going to be guys who aren't on this roster next year just because the money won't work. So my hope is that Khalil can end this year the right way and get this team on a run a little bit.
Gotcha. Z, go ahead.
Now, so what's your outlook? So the bye. So this week comes if they can win this game. The bye comes, and then you got two of the top teams coming in right after that with the Cowboys and Chiefs. So the next 3 weeks is gonna pretty much set the trend for the season. If you're looking at it.
No doubt. I think you absolutely have to get to 2-2 at the bye, and I think it's important to get both those games. Dallas can be had.
Oh yeah,
and it's a short week going to Kansas City the following week, but then you have the Jets and
Bears and Jets back to back.
So it's a heck of an opportunity to beat high quality teams while kind of setting yourself up for a little bit of a run here. So I think both those games are crucial, but if you had to pick one, obviously you want to be Kansas City and you want to be 2-0 in the division. But I do think that coming off the bye against Dallas, Kellen Moore's old team, some storylines there that are fun. This is a crucial stretch, guys. Starting with the Raiders, cannot overlook the Raiders for as poorly as they're playing. These division games, I've seen too many of them between the Raiders and Chargers come down to the wire. And I have no doubt this will probably be something in the fourth quarter where the game's still hanging in the balance.
Yep. And like I said, I don't want to hold you up too long. I know we got to let you get you ready to get up out of here, man. But for the people that don't know, man, I was talking a little bit before you came on, man. Tell us a little bit about your podcast, the Chargers Weekly Podcast.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff you guys are doing there, because I listen to it and I enjoy it. But just for the people that don't know, tell us a little bit about your podcast and what you guys talk about on that platform.
Hey, I appreciate it. Yeah, Chargers Weekly. We've been doing it for this is our 7th season doing Chargers Weekly. So it's me and Matt Money Smith, the radio voice of the Chargers. And, it varies from week to week in terms of the year. But once the season hits, for instance, we're going to tape tomorrow on Thursday, and we're going to dive into that Minnesota game and talk about everything that happened, and continue to do a Monday morning quarterback on Thursday, but kind of push you forward to the Raiders game, and then really dive into what to expect against the Raiders, things we noticed in Minnesota that maybe can carry over into that game. And it's every Thursday. It goes on YouTube every Friday morning on the Chargers channel. And you can get it wherever you get your podcasts. Just download Chargers Podcast Network. We're on the Chargers Podcast Network. So I appreciate the plug. It's been a lot of fun to do it. You know, we've kind of changed the format up a little bit. I used to interview a bunch of people, whether it be beat writers or the announcer who's calling the game to the opposing team. And we still do that from time to time. But I really like the format of me and Money just chopping it up and answering fan questions. We do fan mailbag and stuff. So if you're watching this and you're a Chargers fan, check us out.
Outstanding.
Man. Yeah, no, I love it, man. I love you guys' breakdown, some of the stuff you guys talk about. And obviously, yeah, I'm a big Chargers fan myself, even though I'm a Bucks fan. But Chargers are definitely, you know, one of my favorite teams and one of my favorite players of all time, and Phillip Rivers, man. He's probably one of my favorite players, just the stone cold trash talker, just an always just upbeat, up tempo, not a silent room that he's in. So
he's ultimate competitor, man. I loved my time being able to cover Phil and see him work and just see how he connected with the locker room from, you know, it didn't matter if you were a rookie or in your 15th year, like he found a connection with everybody. And it was just so fun to see him work and do that clean trash talk, man. Nobody else can do that.
All right, man. So Chris Hayre, everybody. So Chris, we'll let you go, man.
Hey, appreciate you guys.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for coming on.
And we'll let you go. Thanks a lot, Chris.
All right. Take care, guys. Be good.
All right, appreciate it, man. See you.
All right.
All right. Chris Hayre, everybody. So like I said, I mean, Chris is always
big game for the Chargers this week. Big game against the Raiders. Yeah.
Big game, man. And make sure you check out his podcast, Chargers Weekly. Him and his co-host, like he was just saying, and it's a great platform. They give a lot of very informative information, some insights, a lot of little insights, especially they want to bring that up since he was on, but a lot of little sports betting insights if you put it together, man. So some of those player props make them hit. These Austin Ecklers and you know, all of that stuff.
Over. If the first 3 weeks tell you something, over, and more over.
Yeah, no doubt, man. So that was beautiful. So Z, let's wrap up with some bets, man. So bets of the week. So before we actually get into that, I'll give you a little glimpse, man. I'll give you a little glimpse of what's been kind of going on and what's been shaking on my end. So college football last weekend was killing it, left and right. Florida State was a nail biter. I took my boys, though. Noel chopped them up, took that to the bank, got the late money on I teased up Notre Dame.
Overtime saved the cover. They went to overtime to get the cover.
Hey, listen to me sound like some big shot.
Sometimes you get lucky.
I'm so happy that
they had the insurance salesman who they pulled off the street.
The kicker, yeah, they kept showing it every time he made a kick. They kept showing his parents high fiving, but when he missed that kick, they put the camera on him. Parents were like, I was like, oh, thank God. And then number 4 for the Florida State Seminoles, man. Boy, I love you, bro. I love you, boy. So he went out there, snagged the ball in the end zone, got the game-winning touchdown in overtime. But watch out for my nose, man. The Florida State Seminoles, I'm telling you, we're coming. But anyway, I mean, won big money on them. Obviously, we're not going to spend a bunch of time on it. Colorado just got blasted, man. And Dan Lanning went in there. They let them boys know we're still the big dogs. You know, obviously, I just don't understand what people are getting out of this thing about shitting on Deion. He's doing an amazing job at Colorado. And obviously, we know you're still Oregon. You're supposed to win like that. I mean, the spread was -21 for a reason. You get it? I mean, so that's kind of just what it is. But outside of that, man, college football was great. NFL, not so much. Now, the goddamn Dallas Cowboys, fucked me over. Dallas Cowboys fucked me up. Who else messed me up? Who was the other team I had? I can't remember right now, but it was one other team that messed me up. So for the most part, I mean, like I said, college football was money. NFL was a little shaky last week, especially with some of the favorites. It was mostly the favorites, like Jacksonville. That was the game.
Yeah,
Jacksonville losing to the goddamn Houston Texans.
Yeah.
And you heard Chris just talk about the young quarterback out of Ohio State. He just went off.
And then that's who the Steelers got this week. I was expecting that to be easy win. Not anymore.
That's no easy win at all. They got speed and they got real speed. They almost
Tank Dell, rookie from Houston, running his 4.3 40.
Looking like he shot out of a cannon. But I mean, like I said, NFL wasn't the best. I still was in the positive overall, so I can say that. Did win a few games and everything like that. But this upcoming week, got a few things and a few games for you guys. Z, I'll let you go ahead, man.
So first off, for me, I mean, football started off great. So it's when you're hot, keep it riding, keep ride the wave. Don't look back, just keep riding the wave and moving forward. Mm-hmm. For my first bet tomorrow night, it's going to be Thursday night college football. Sam Houston State is a team that has only scored 10 points in 3 games this season. They played Jacksonville State with Rich Rodriguez and his high-powered offense. Mm-hmm. I'm taking Jacksonville State minus the 6.5 tomorrow because Sam Houston State cannot score at all. And so that is my first bet on the college side. And sorry, Colorado fans, I'm fading Colorado. They got USC coming in. And, so I'm taking USC first half, USC full game, USC. I think Oregon exposed Colorado a bit last week. So as of now, those are the 2 big games on the college side. On the pro side, right now, I think so. Jacksonville plays Atlanta in London, and I am expecting, as bad as they played against Houston, I'm expecting a bounce back because I'm not a believer in Desmond Ridder, the quarterback for Atlanta. So I'm leaning right now to Jacksonville to beat Atlanta in London, and then the Bills-Dolphins game, just bet the over. They're going to score like crazy. Weather's going to be good in Buffalo. Tua is going to continue the air raid show, and Josh Allen will be right back with him. So the over for the Bills and Dolphins game, and I think the Browns are going to get the Ravens. Browns defense has been unbelievable. Ravens got a lot of injuries. They're playing in Cleveland, and so I would lean Browns over Ravens.
Yeah. So for me, man, I'm a little bit of a different take. So I'll get started here on the college football spot, man. So similar to Zell, start here tomorrow night, Thursday night. WKU, man. WKU, those boys can put up some points. I'm definitely looking at the over with those 2 teams, Middle Tennessee, and I also like WKU to win or /cover. They're playing Middle Tennessee. Middle Tennessee is 1-3. WKU's lost 2 games, but they've played some real talent. But those boys can play some ball out there. And then I also love, similar to Zell, I love Jacksonville State. I think they just beat the hell out of Sam Houston State. That is, you can put that in the bank. Jacksonville State's going to beat the absolute trash out of Sam Houston. It's going to be a horrible matchup. They have a high-powered offense. Sam Houston can't score a damn point. They can't get anything right. So I love that. And then on the Saturday tip, I'm looking at Utah. I love Utah. They're playing Oregon State. Actually, no, it's Friday. Actually, I'm sorry, but yeah, I love Friday. Utah. They're playing in Oregon State, but I love Utah. I mean, they're Cam Rising, the quarterback's back, and they're undefeated.
Is he back or not? It
should be.
Oh my gosh, they keep keeping it a secret. Nobody's leaking any information.
Yeah, and I get it, but the thing is, Utah with their dual quarterback system, they play the same way. I'm not saying they're Cam Rising's level, but they're physical. They're tough, man. Even with them being, just having that stigma of being a Utah or a BYU type team, they're tough. They'll fight you. So I like them to go on the road. They're actually +3. You can actually tease them up and get some good money there. So I love that. And then I'm also looking at what was my game, man? I was just looking at. Z, I'll pass on the Colorado thing, man. But Boston College. Boston College at home over UVA. UVA is horrible.
Yeah.
They're starting a true freshman quarterback. I love when I see games like
UVA
this.
is 0-4 ATS. They're
Oh,
one of the worst ATS teams.
I can't
UVA,
wait until they play.
Sam
I
Houston
can't,
State.
I can't wait until teams like when I see a freshman quarterback, a true freshman. He looks okay. He's not horrible. He's just a true freshman. He makes true freshman mistakes. He had 4 fumbles in the Maryland game a few weeks ago, and they got blown out. They just lost the game because of him last week. But yeah, they're playing Boston College. Boston College is a solid team. They almost beat Florida State a few weeks ago at home.
Yep.
They get the chance to play home again on a 2 p.m. tip. Those fans are gonna be ready for them. And that defense will be ready. And also, I like Maryland, man. I'll take the home team. Maryland's 4-0. They're gonna get a chance to move to 5-0 in conference play. They're playing Indiana. Indiana's coming in. They're gonna be on the road. Maryland's, like I said, they're undefeated. They're playing well. They got Tua's little brother out there balling. The spread's -14. I say tease that down and get some, maybe -7. Maryland first half. These guys can definitely put up some points. And then also, I was also looking at here. Where did my other game?
See, I like Oklahoma over Iowa State. Over Iowa State. Oklahoma is 4-0 ATS. They've been destroying teams. Yeah. Absolutely destroying everybody. They're at home to Iowa State this week. Iowa State really can't score. Iowa State has been struggling.
I would say my big money.
I think Oklahoma just rolls over them.
Yep. My big money college football game, guys, and you guys got to be a fool not to take this one. I'm telling you, take it. Is LSU on the road over Ole Miss? Ole Miss don't want that action, man. I mean, LSU had a horrible performance last week, even though I think they still won.
At the end.
Yeah, they still won. It was a bad, ugly looking win. I think they played Arkansas, but Ole Miss and Dart against LSU. I mean, LSU are some real boys, man. And Ole Miss, I saw and I bet on them to barely beat Tulane a few weeks ago. I mean, Tulane's a good team. Don't get me wrong, but they shouldn't be stacking up to a Power 5 team like an Ole Miss or LSU and those types of teams. So I'm telling you guys, please take LSU on the road over Ole Miss. If you're a little scared and shit like that, tease them up so that you can get some plus money there because the spread's only like -1.5. And then on the NFL tip tomorrow night.
Remember Washington too. Washington plays Arizona. Horrible. Washington 4-0 ATS. Michael Penix going crazy, throwing left and right.
Oh yeah,
they're 18-point favorites. They're going to be up 21 at halftime.
Yeah.
So so Washington is a team I'll throw out there that I've been betting and I've been cashing.
Keep an eye on them. Texas. Riding. I'm not taking Texas this weekend because it's a little bit of a shit. Kansas is sneaky, man.
Yeah,
Kansas is sneaky. If anything, I'm betting that game. I'm taking Kansas. And I'm teasing them up, but I love Texas. I think they're gonna give a lot of people some trouble. But on the NFL tip, I'm starting tomorrow night as well, man. I'm taking the Lions on the road over Green Bay. Even though Green Bay put off the late win last week, I think the Lions they're facing the boys. This is for the division. These are the two guys. These are the two head honchos. I think the Lions get them on the road in Green Bay. And then I'll take. I don't hope the Jags don't come back to bite me again, man. It's a home game for them, Jacksonville.
Well, no, it's in London at 10 a.m.
Yeah, it's a home game for them, but it's in London, 10 a.m. In the morning. So wake your ass up instead of watching Countdown and all these other little shows, man. College football final and whatever the heck you guys watch in the morning on Sunday. But yeah, I love Jacksonville to win in. I guess as their home, this is their home game over the Atlanta Falcons. So I love that. Keep a huge eye on the under of the Bills and Dolphins. That I don't think it gets the over cashes. I know it looks like a heck of a number. With the Miami putting up 70 last week, and they covered that by themselves. But Buffalo presents a little bit of a different challenge. They're
It's
going
gonna be interesting what they put it at, because last week it was 46 and they scored 70 by themselves. 50.
It's
so
50.
it went up. Yeah, it went up to 53.
It's
high.
53. That's high as hell.
Total. Yeah.
I'm telling you guys, I don't let that fucking 70 fool you. These are divisional opponents. They know each other's plays. They know every fucking thing they're about to do. So please, I'm telling you, don't be the idiot and take the over and lose all your damn money just thinking just because they score 70 they can cover it by themselves, because it's not going to happen. So I love that. And then I'll also looking at I love the Broncos on the road over the Bears. Justin Fields just isn't it, man. And this offensive play calling, they're horrible. The Broncos, at least they fucking scored. I mean, I don't know what the Bears are running. You know what I mean? But yeah, I like the Broncos to get their first win on the road in Chicago. I'm also looking and liking. Where'd it go?
And look, that's a hold your nose bet. A team that gave up 70.
Yeah, I'll take them. I think they'll come out angry. How you let a team come out putting 70 on you, boy, and you come out and just lay down? Then next week, yeah, they'll be ready in Chicago, man. And then I also like teasing where'd it go? Teasing the 49ers, man. I know it's a division game. It's minus 14. Pick another game and tease the 49ers down, man. Get that 7.
You don't even. So what is it? It's 14.
Yeah.
Might take the minus 14. They're at home.
That's division opponent. If you can tease it down though.
It's a division opponent with a new coach, Joshua Dobbs.
They hang in there. They hang in there though.
They are one of the they're one of the best ATS. I was looking at the ATS, but
they don't let people blow them out. And like I said, it's the 49ers though. But I'm just saying, just to be on the safe side, tease the 14 down to 7 and get another game and tease it down. So that's just my personal opinion. But outside of that, that's all I have for bets for you guys. Like I said, these past few weeks have been actually really good, especially college football, man. College football has been amazing for me. NFL has been up in the air, but usually after week 5, everything slows down. You'll get to see teams for who they are. So don't blow all your money like that. And then before we close out, Z, man, what was your opinion? Obviously, we saw the trade today with Damian Lillard. It was just the best on the NBA to going to the Milwaukee Bucks. Man, what?
There was hints of that. Remember the All-Star game? Number 1 pick, Giannis. With the first pick, I'm taking Dame Dollar over Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
That was a sign 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And they had, the reporter Chris Haynes.
They got that chemistry here, man.
Yeah. Chris Haynes, the reporter.
Yeah.
Giannis's wife is Chris Haynes' cousin. So Chris Haynes he posted that Giannis was visiting his wife's family, I guess in Fresno, and was at a barbershop telling everybody his dream is to play with Dame a couple weeks ago. So people were like, oh, it's done. It's a done deal. And you seen where today Jimmy Butler went on Twitter talking about Milwaukee needs to be investigated for tampering. This is some BS. How could you say that when people have been talking about him going to Miami
for the longest?
Yeah.
Yeah, they just sticked it out. They pulled the carpet right up out under you. You know what
Portland
I mean?
didn't want Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero, and Portland ended up getting a decent. They got Holiday out of the deal. Yeah. They end up with Holiday, and
I think they'll buy him out. I think they'll.
Yeah,
I don't think Holiday
and DeAndre Ayton, or they'll trade him. Somebody will take.
Yeah. Now Ayton, I'm happy that the Suns finally moved on from Ayton. He is so incredibly soft. He's lazy. You saw him and Jokic. He was just running the floor, just not even giving a damn. You got to get him the hell out of there. I'm happy that you did that.
Personality-wise, with Booker, Durant,
he wants the
those
damn
are
ball.
all alpha guys who just attack, and then Ayton is not. And then he was making a ton of money. So basically, Nurkic is a cheaper version of Ayton.
And he's a better shooter. Nurkic is going to get wide open fucking jump shots. He's not going to ask for the ball in the post. He's going to do what he's supposed to do. He's going to be in position. So I think it all worked out for everybody's favor. And for me, people like me who's Giannis, lovers like I am, I mean, I'm happy, man. I can't wait to see what they scheme
Can you
up on a
imagine
nightly basis.
the pick and roll with Dame, and they got Chris Middleton,
Yeah,
and then or Dame, who's not the greatest defensive player, let his guy roll back, and you got Giannis, you got Brook Lopez, you got all that size, Bobby
yep,
Portis.
Bobby Portis.
I mean, and
Yeah,
then they
all of those
got
guys.
shooters. They really, and they got a pure closer. At the end of the game, Giannis doesn't have to get fouled a million times. Put the ball in Dame's hand and let Giannis just roll to the basket, roll to the
Yeah.
basket, roll to.
It's going to be a beautiful thing, man. And then, I mean, the 76ers, they're talking about Drew Holiday. They're making a serious push. Well, they're going to try to make a serious push to get Drew Holiday out of Portland. And we already know what that means for James Harden. I like that pairing. I mean, he's a two-way player. Drew Holiday is. He's a champion. Opposite of James Harden, he's old. He's washed up. He's out of shape.
But Portland's not going to take James Harden. So what I'm hearing, maybe Drew Holiday to Miami, and they'll take the package Miami offered. But they don't want Tyler Hero because they want to let their Scoot Henderson and Simmons be the guards and take over. They don't want another guy to come in, and be a ball dominant guard like Tyler Hero. So
yeah, we'll see what happens out of it, man. Like I said, and the thing is, like I said, now, guys, we got sports each and every night. Almost 2 more weeks. They're gonna have NBA preseason basketball, and then a week after, or 2 weeks after that, by mid-October, late October, NBA's here. All right, so and then you got NBA and NFL every single night, man. So we'll go through this drill over and over again, but we'll let you guys go.
You know, Phoenix got a bench. Phoenix got a bunch of good role bench players now to surround Beal, Booker, and Durant. I mean,
that was the issue. That was the issue.
What, 7-8 players to put on their bench?
Yeah, that was their issue. So they needed some bench players because once their starters went and sat down, there was no Cam Johnson, there was no Miles Bridges.
Look,
everybody else was gone.
Grayson Allen, Nasir Little, Keon Johnson, 3 shooters to come off the bench. That's good for them. And then Nurkic to replace Ayton. They're good.
Yeah. So they'll be good. So we'll talk more about this NBA, this NFL for you guys next time. Obviously, the sports best. Thanks for listening, guys. Like I said, we're definitely getting more consistent with this. Make sure you, as always, like, comment, subscribe to the channel, man. Obviously, we can listen to us on all platforms, Apple Podcast, Spotify, the YouTube channel, obviously, man. We got a lot of big things in store. We're definitely going to start getting more consistent with it. But thanks for rocking with us, and we will see you next show. Peace.